Welcome back to the Nigerian Pride today, the 22nd of June 2022. And I am your host, Lion Olushokumbi. Yesterday, we experienced the strike in the rail network, which caused a lot of havoc yesterday. And I don't want to be talking about the amount the UK lost due to that. And another one will be going ahead tomorrow and then maybe on Saturday. Hopefully, the RMT and the UK government can find a solution to this and we can move ahead with life. But then we still have the issue of the inflation rate going higher, which has reached the rate it was like about 30-40 years ago. Cost of living eating deep. I heard some people reporting they bought a litre of fuel for £2.19 today, somewhere down south in England, and you've been seeing up here we've been having 188 for fuel and 190 something for diesel. Hopefully, we all make it through these hard times and come out stronger. But really, it's time to cut. But today on the show, that's not what we're looking at. Today on the show, we are still looking back at some of the experiences members of the African community who stood for election and the last local council election in Scotland, what their experiences were like, what they felt it was like, how they think the situation to change and the field of play to change and things like that. So we'll be looking into that today with my guest, whom I'll be introducing soon. And also we will start first about the guest himself, some great things he's been doing even before coming into the political arena to stand. And then we go on with the discussion for today. Without any further ado, I'll just call on my guest. Hello, guest. How are you?
Okay. When you say guest, are you referring? Is it me?
Yeah, you are the guest.
Okay. Good evening, the Lion himself. Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to be here invited on this platform. Thank you very much, Mr. Olu.
Yeah, can we know your name, please?
Oh, yes. My name is Tony Osy, and a flag bearer for Alba Party in the local government election for East Centre Ward 18, Shettleston.
Okay, that's Glasgow. Right, and let's start the discussion. Thank you for coming on, and
Thank you.
it's good that we finally got you here because I was expecting you in the studio. And when I didn't see, I had to just say what's happening.
Absolutely.
But it's good you are here. Okay, let's start this. I know many people now will have known you as a politician now, but there's something many people know you as before now. Can you tell us what that is?
Oh, that's very correct. Yeah. Before I don't know if it's the right word to be referred as a politician, but my passionate title is an activist, because I'm very passionate about human well-being in general. So, and again, pretty much a Pan-Africanist, because I'm very much passionate about African revolutionary movement in terms of development and worldwide. So, I'm a writer. I'm a movie writer, a script writer, an actor, and producer too. So, but the most passionate field is activism, because activism cannot be the key to amplification of voices of the voiceless, and that's why I see myself better on. But it was just the derivative of becoming a politician, where decisions have been made or taking place. So that's pretty much what it is. Thank you, Mr. Rolo. I appreciate it.
Right, well done. Thanks for that. So let's start. You've given a bit of background to yourself there. Many people wouldn't have known that you are even an actor, script writer, movie maker, and things like that. And it was good you mentioned them, because I was going to bring them out for you, but you mentioned them, so we've cleared that off. So picking up from the passion you have for Pan-Africanism, was that what led to the establishment of African Relief Support?
Hmm. That's a big question. Yeah. I the American Relief Support is a charity organization founded by me. The reason being is, I've had several events in Glasgow, which is tailored into African unity and solidarity in diaspora. And in the quest of trying to bring in that movement together is a difficult thing because I realize that the only way to get attention of the people is actually giving them what they want. And I realize that again, I use this analogy a lot that Jesus Christ in the Bible was never popular until he began to do something different, and that thing different, it done something beyond human comprehension, which is his miracles. He was performing miracles. He was giving people what they wanted. He was healing people. He was giving them food. So most of the time, people are not keen with motivational talk when you can deliver sweet, well tailored, constructed, and eloquent delivery of speeches with empty without doing performing anything. I decided when I've been confronted with several questions. Yes, you've talked a lot about changes. How do we deliver changes? So I felt like, and I had to. It comes one upon a time, and the message came to me like the only way we can lead a revolutionary role modeling change is by doing it ourselves. And this is part of the thing we've learned in this country, DIY. So rather than stay laying back and complaining, I believe that we have that duty of care to show that leadership example, and when we do this, and if it works well, then people can replicate it alongside. That's just why I get into the charity to be able to deliver my dreams and my passion and my goodwills and good causes to the people of our community. Thank you.
All right. So African Relief Support was set up in 2020. I believe that's during the COVID-19 period.
That's correct.
So to what extent? I mean, how has it been so far? It's good to ask that question. How has it been so far since you started it? What has the response been? How busy have you been with it? Things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Like you say, we founded African Relief Support at a very, very bad time when the whole world was in lockdown. When I'm in lockdown, there was nothing. We couldn't access anything, not even a bank account. So, but you know what? That's where passion comes in play. Everybody involved, the board of trustees, most people would have been deterred because things weren't coming, things weren't moving. We couldn't access anything, no information, no bank, no nothing. And from my point of view, if you're an organization that does not have the bank tied to their name, obviously there'll be no credibility, no trust for anybody, any funders to look at you or to think that you are doing the right thing. But the grace of God, we were able to power through. I was using my own personal resources to run at the time. That's because I knew there were so many people who are left out. A lot of people from ethnic minority background have no access to information, or most of them wouldn't even be bothered to access information. Therefore, what it means that a large number of people, about 70% of ethnic minority group were left out from knowing how to access COVID relief aids. So, and I had to jump in and follow this up to make sure that people who are left out are actually looked after. And that requires me using my personal resources because there was no access to any funding at all. Then, right after we started funding and our activities, it was going broadly, people beginning to recognize our work. Then the council jumped in and helped us with just a little money to be able to power through those periods.
Good. So what are the next plans now going forward for African Relief Support? Because we know the second year anniversary is knocking on the door. Even though maybe you are not taking note yet, but we are taking note from outside. So what is to be expected? I mean, what are there programs lined up for this already, or are we still just looking?
No. To be honest, the progress made by African Relief Support under 1 year of easing the lockdown, because the lockdown was eased just last year. The jump from nothing to where we are is absolutely remarkable, and that is because we had a group of volunteers, well committed volunteers that are very passionate about, moving things ahead. And they've seen my strength. I don't sleep. At this moment, as I speak to you, we still remain the only charity that delivers food door to door to our communities. A lot of charities have given up because it's quite challenging. It's challenging because you drift your time. You need the time. You need resources. You need all of those, and the government are no longer putting the resources, but we continue to deliver anyway. And we've acquired a community bus, which is a free transportation for all communities. And that bus is for free for our community. Any community, women affairs or women welfare committees that want to do anything or go out, especially this time, they're going to be busy now. This is summer period. So
Yeah.
most women will be having activities out in this, either in the beach or in the safari. So our bus, community bus, we convey them for free. They will take them and bring them back, and it's serviceable because we have a program, and it's called Dance and Music Class Academy for African Relief. That is a huge project now because we're overwhelmed with people who have tuned in. We started with few people, but right now it's going across all ethnicity. So as I speak to you, we have different race in the group: the whites, the black, the Africans, the Chinese, the Arab. Every children is well represented with this. So it's amazing seeing this project climb from where we started to where we are right now. As I speak to you now, we're putting people on hold. We're putting people on
Waiting
the
list.
list, on the waiting list. That's how busy it is. It is that because it's overstressed our bus services because buses go into individual homes to pick up these children, and after the dance, take them back again to their home. It's absolutely sweet. And last time they had their showcase, I was tear dropping because the reason for behind this project was because most parents from ethnic minority background who has no either low income or no access to low recourse to public fund would have deprived their children from their talent, naturally gifted talent. And our reason for this was able to identify with the talent and showcase them and put them across to British Got Talent, sponsored by African Relief Support. These are the things our major reason of going on that project. And we have school ESO classes that we collaborate with Kevin College. Kevin College allocated one of their staff who comes to our auditorium to teach English classes every week. African Relief Support is powering on, and yet a lot have to come. A lot is yet to come. We're just waiting for the government to be able to support us where we can to be able to give our community every package that we have planned for them for development.
Oh, good. Thank you so much for that. So let's move away from African Relief Support. I believe there will be more time when we will bring you on and you really show us more about that.
Okay.
So, how did you get to Alba Party? How did you get into politics?
Hmm. Um, Honestly, the politics is Labour Party before I switched, and the reason why I switched to Alba Party was because it was first of all it was Labour Party that had, identified with me as an activist. They called me, "Why do you not want to join the political party? There, your voice could be heard more." And I felt like, yes, the challenge of my voice getting to be heard about how to redefine the status quo of our people is what I've been definitely dream about. So I felt like, okay, it's a call and I have to answer it. So I joined the Labour Party. At the time, it was Jeremy Corbyn that was the leader of Labour Party. Jeremy Corbyn was an activist like myself. So I see the raw, um, ideology of Jeremy Corbyn. He personally made up the manifesto of Labour Party that still govern Labour Party up to date. Even though what happens, he has no charisma that took him to where he was meant to be. Otherwise, he was the powerful guy with different, I would call it a contemporary, ideology that accommodate everyone, accommodate people from diverse ethnic groups, and which is why I liked him. Then at the moment he left, the face of Labour Party changed. There was crisis in the house, and they were not able to address that crisis, and they drifted from the promises that the Labour Party stand for, which is accommodating the ethnic minority group into um, sensitive positions. And for that reason, I felt like, okay, the things are not moving the way it is. And Alba Party spotted me out. They called me on board, and because it was a baby or political party, and I felt like because it's on a foundation level, we may have the opportunity to address issues that is not accommodated in their manifesto. So I had to go through the manifesto and identify with things that wasn't included in the manifesto. And I was invited by Alex Salmon, and I had a meeting with him. So I spoke to Alex Salmon one-on-one, and I told him I wasn't coming there for my personal entitlement or my ranking. I'm only coming there if anything that will benefit the people of Africa. That will be my take on that. And when I told him that I've read the manifesto from beginning to the end, he was amazed. He said that most people in the party hasn't even read the manifesto. How come I did that? I said, well, that's how I understand what govern, because the manifesto becomes the piece of legislation that governs the party. We all know that any party will function with the manifesto, because that's where they derive the policies that they're going to use to govern the state if they're in power. So I read that through, and it wasn't accommodating any of us. And I told him, first of all, if there will be an amendment, I will start the amendment. The amendment is founding us, because I don't agree with so many things like identifying African people as being community. And I told them, if only I could put that could be addressed, then I'll be on board to power in with the political party. And I wrote a request that Africans, as a continent, Africa is a big continent, probably perhaps bigger than Western Europe continent. So why would Africa be bottled into other continent that are called a group? Africa should be recognized and respected as a continent of its own. Africa is well blessed in all ramifications, in resources and intelligence. Like yourself on the radio, you are a very educated person. So Africa has all of these packages. So Africa should be addressed as Africans. Africa should not be bottled up and called part of a group that they cannot function. So, and they agreed with me and they accepted that, and they gave us the mandate to launch what they call African Squad. So I founded African Squad. The African Squad becomes a name, a branded recognition of an ethnic minority here in Scotland as African Squad. And that's how I became part of Alba, campaigned for Alba, then stood for the position. It wasn't my first time standing for a political election. I've stood for political election through Labour Party, but the platform which I was given by Alba Party is huge compared to what I had from Labour Party.
Right. Okay. Good. I mean, that's a good one to get to know. African Squad. Now, there was something you mentioned earlier, and I just want to touch back on that just to be clear. So, yes, you want the African identity recognized and appreciated and acknowledged. So, does it mean you are against the acronym BAME?
Yes, pretty much. I am. I can't lie to you because now my spirit, because I've been warned several times that you need to come down from activism to political person, but it doesn't work out like that with me because it's inborn, and that means I'm very pragmatic. I'm very straightforward, so I can't twist things just to satisfy people. I'll be honest with you. I know we're in the public. I know it's something not to say, but it's a fact. It's what that represent me, which I can't change. That is because that's how my brain process things and how it functions. I don't identify with BAME. I don't like to be called BAME. I don't think I am BAME. I am an African, and I should be seen as an African Scot, not a BAME person.
Right, good. No, I mean, I like that. I like the fact that you came out, and there are actually a lot of people talking about that issue now. Although it's just on the back burner, people are discussing it. And I think there was a time when even the Prime Minister said he doesn't believe in the acronym BAME also. So,
Wow,
and
that's good.
it's just the thing is, it's just to know, the reasons why people are now kicking against BAME. Because I know first we started with BME,
Yes.
and then it became BAME. And now, there's a lot of argument here and there. Which brings me to my next question. What was your experience like this last May when you actually ran for office? Being an African, standing in that ward where you're standing, where you stood,
Mm.
what were your experience like being an African candidate? Put the
Yeah.
party aside now. Being an African candidate.
It's one of the toughest core here in Scotland. We've been here as long as it is, and we realize that things are changing gradually. There are things I looked at. I don't particularly, like I say, the way I process things, I don't particularly see racism as racism. I see it as a xenophobic fear, a fear of the known, because one is the rate to which Africa is climbing is causing fear onto other people because they don't expect that us will be able to climb. So for that reason, there's this stereotype. The stereotype is still winning the system where they still identify people with that stereotype that the Africans are better than nothing, but which is not true. So my experience during the election is really bad, but already it's something that we're used to. I prepared my mind. I knew I was going to get the worst, but being a public figure require you to be very patient, diplomatic, and accommodating, regardless of what is thrown at you. So if the truth is, I would have won the election if it wasn't of racism, because half a dozen of people that would have voted wouldn't vote because one, this is not the kind of face that they want to represent them. Most people that voted probably would have been, always you're going to have that minority of people that don't really care about color or about the representation of people. So, which is what happened. The racism is still very, very, very at large. It's known everywhere. I realized that most of the places that I put my posters, they will take it down in just 1 minute. I just put the poster and I turn back. Somebody will tear it off. They don't want to see it, and somebody would just use some foul language when it come to them, like, okay, you're campaigning and you're trying to put certain things across to them. They don't want to listen to that. They just use certain words to talk you out. You just laugh and walk away, and that's the society we're living in. But like I say, this is a country that never experienced anything cosmopolitan or contemporary. It's becoming gradually, because from the Western or from the Westminster is trying to induce that contemporary face into Scotland. Scotland is still I don't know how to say that, if they're still in the dark age, where most of the things in the public face is cosmetically decorated. Yeah, what I mean by cosmetically decorated is because they just filling things for political view, but inside the system, there's filtrations. That filtration things that actually will reduce Africans to another thing, and that again is a worry for me. And I felt like we've got a lot of work to do within ourselves. I don't want to be pointing finger on anyone. I felt Africans will have to come together and find a solution on how to readdress the status quo in terms of how to redefine the status on how people are perceived in the country. So such,
Okay.
I believe, is in our hands to readdress. We will earn respect. We don't have to force respect. We don't have to ask for it. We don't need to ask for it. People like yourself that are very educated, that has all the bags, has to be recognized, and they have to be recognized with your merit, not for um, not on pity, not for the fact that people have to feel the faces like film making. When people, some African people will be identified and put in the film just because they want to maintain that
They
maintain
want
that
to
what they
tick the
call
box.
equality or tick the box. No, there's no equality. Equality is just a political word. It doesn't exist, because in the workplaces there are differentiations in the workplaces, in housing, which is part of the thing with campaign, in hospital appointment, in everything you want to assess. I can remember once I won. I will never forget this, and this is an opportunity for me to say it out in the public. I won a scholarship in this country. I never got it.
Why was that? Which scholarship was this?
In the uni, I represented the uni at the time. I was studying civil engineer, so there was a scholarship that came up that time, And at the moment, I was the best person that was that came through the scholarship interview. Then after which, the interviewer told me, "You got it," but I never seen it. When I got back to ask question, it was only questions, and I was told, "There's nothing I can do. I know you want it, but I'm not the final person to give it out." They
Oh, well,
probably
that,
would have
that
changed their mind.
that was that. Did you report that? Was that reported to the authority of that university? Because that's something I would be interested in chasing. Although, yeah, I mean, did you do any of
Okay.
that?
I just talked to the person, the group, or
The group
the
of
affirmation, the
interviewers.
people.
Yeah.
Yes, I talked to them, and I will get back to you, and they never got back to me. This is
Right.
ages ago.
Well, that's something we should look at. But let's focus on the interview we are on with the political experience, because I know we've got limited times because we've just got more. We've got about two other guests who will come on the show later. So
All
I
right.
know you've had that election. You've talked now about the racism part of it, the inequality and things like that. And you also mentioned something that, it's time for Africans to come together in Scotland. How can we do that? How can we have that happen?
Okay. Yes, it's easy to happen, and that's why I want to be more pragmatic other than talking. It's something that we want to lead practically, in the sense that we identify with the weaknesses, and those weaknesses is what we want to address. But the fact is, when we talking, most of the people talking are pointing fingers on everyone. Um, things. It's not everybody that does things. Everybody is a grace carrier of different grace. So people are footballers, people are doctors, people are scientists, people are engineers. So for particular people that see things in a particular way, there's kind of demographic of people that is passionate about change, revolutionary change, that identify with the way forward. It's people that we will need to bring together. Not everybody, because everybody will have different type of opinion and mind that will polarize or kind of corrode the ideas of pushing Africa forward. Most people are buying into, like, there's certain things I don't buy. I don't buy complaint. I don't buy Black Lives Matters. It's not my ideal kind of thing. I don't participate in Black Lives Matters because I don't think I should be begging people for my life. I think I have authority. I have the right and authority to live for who is me. I believe that I don't believe in begging for anything. I believe that we've come to to a position in life where we are very well exposed in life. We're educated. We have these experiences. We've come to the country. We've learned the positive part of the country, and that we can replicate during ourselves. And it's a practical thing to do. So we can't remain under and ask people to please excuse us to leave. That is not acceptable by me. I believe that I have the power to leave. I have the power to create things, and that's why I have created a lot of things. That is sort of a role modeling practice for people to learn this stuff. Like, don't cry, try do something. When I did my dissertation in university, I used one topic that may amaze you if you hear that. I mean, when I said, when you bring a black man and a white man and strip them naked and put them during the heart of the cold winter, the first thing the black man will shout is, "Oh my God, why me? Why did you put me here? Why did you allow that to happen to me? God, are you still there? Do you exist?" Do you know what I mean? The white guy, first of all, first thing he would think, he will run away and think, "Oh, come on, I need to get something to cover myself." And eventually, when he finds something to cover himself, and he come back to the black man, "Are you still here?" And he will give the black man the clothes to wear. And he's like, "Where did you get that from?" He said, "Well, I'm giving you that now, but if your brother wants it, he's going to pay £2." So everybody start laughing, but it's not a joke. It's just ability to think. We all have the ability to think, but we don't have finishing. Because if you think about everything we use today, the telephone, the media which you and I are sharing right now, the telephone, the lawnmower to cut grasses. If you see where African man is cutting the grass in Africa, the blisters would have killed his hand before he finishes the plot of land. It
It's
will
true.
take him hours and days to clear a plot of land. But the technology behind it is absolutely nothing. It's just a coil. A coil to add negative and positive, and he rolls it around, and the grasses are cut. So these things are something we can do. For me, that's what I represent. That's how I want Africans to come together. First of all, I'll be honest with you. There are remedies we can follow, mitigations we can follow. But first of all, I believe that the first thing to do is to identify with the demographic of people of like minds that think that same way. The people that have that same understanding. Because if you bring in people that don't have that kind of a thinking, that do not think through that box, then we won't achieve nothing. What happens is it will end up in argument. It will end up of you will corrode the idea.
Right, you're correct. So, because of our time, I'm just going to ask you this other question because this is more or less the one or two last questions I've got for you on this. Is Scotland really ready for independence? Because I know you're a member of the Alba Party, and your party, the SNP, the Greens, they are all championing for independence. But looking at everything you've said up till now, do you think Scotland is ready for independence?
Yeah, Scotland has what it takes to be independent. Number one, I'll tell you that. Independent is a natural course. I take things through a natural course. You use this analogy of natural course because, first of all, the birth of car is through the human existence. The birth of a aeroplane is through the birds. The aeroplane is the replication of a bird. The way the bird behaves and the way he flies and the way he gains the trust and the way he descends is all replication of human analogy. So for me, a child is born and he grows, he cries, he opens his eyes, he put his hand in his mouth. That's transition. It begin to crawl, it begin to run, it begin to grow and begin to take idea for themselves and begin to reject parental ideas. And it comes to a point when the child believes, no, I have the right to decide what I want in my life, and that is independent. So Scotland has come to the age where they have the ability to go independent. They have the resources, they have the education. They've lost
Even despite the fact that you said that there is racism, inequalities, you think Scotland is ready?
Yeah, they have no choice because this is the revolution of the world. They can't help it anymore because whether or not they're racist or whether they like it or not, the system will intermarry. People will come. It will be a diverse society. It would happen naturally, politically, democratically. It will happen. So they will get used to it. That's just what I believe. It's just time. Time will do this.
Okay, time will do this, said Tony Osy there. Time will do this. Time will do this. I love that statement. Time will do this. Well, what I would just say, thank you so much for your time today. We'll be looking forward to a time when we'll bring you back with others from with others in the African community, in other political parties, and pose the questions to all of you. How do you unite yourselves? And that will be the next thing we'll be looking forward to. Well, thank you so much once again, Mr. Tony. And don't forget, when it's time to celebrate the second year of African Relief Support, please, we want to be as involved as possible. Okay? Thank you for your time, and we really appreciate that. Thank you. Listeners, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. So, listeners at home, there you have it. That is Mr. Tony Osy of the Alba Party.